Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel today. Today I have a topic that I'm super excited to discuss. The past few weeks I was thinking about little things like this, and then all of a sudden, literally a few hours ago, I was like, that is such a great topic to cover because I feel like there's just so many expansive things to dive into, and I'm really excited. So that would be the 5 top things that I've learned in my early 20s. I'm kind of going into my mid-20s now, so I feel like that period of right after college, into your early 20s is definitely a formative and really important few years. And I just wanted to share some of the main things and takeaways that I've experienced from it because it definitely surprised me. I don't know, I kind of pictured myself like whoever I was at 18, because obviously when you're younger, you kind of have just a sense of yourself and you don't really understand how you grow throughout time. So I thought of myself just kind of however I was when I was 18, 19, that person can kind of just improve, keep on going through their 20s, through their, whole lives. And there's a lot about that that's correct. But then also, I feel like just these early 20s have taught me so much, and I've really just began to, well, I shouldn't say began, because I think I've always had a good relationship with myself, if that makes sense. But I've just really began to just love everything that I do. I really like the way how I approach life, and there's obviously lots of things I want to, continue to grow and change and help fix myself in certain ways. But overall, I'm just really enjoying how these formative years after college has positioned me, and I'm excited for my mid-20s and late 20s and all that stuff. So if that made any sense, I feel like that was just a quick ramble, but I do have 5 things that I found were super important looking back on these past few years, and I feel like they set me up to feel confident moving into the next stages of my life. So the first thing I've learned is quantity doesn't mean quality, and this can go through so many different, interpretations. One of the interpretations for me, I just love fashion, and I remember I used to be in high school and even college, I used to buy so much clothes. I just, if there was a deal and I kind of liked something, I would add it to my cart, have it. My closet was overfilling with clothes that I really didn't like. They really weren't my style, so I didn't end up wearing them a lot, and a lot of stuff was just this piece is over here, this piece is in this type of style, but they don't cross over. There's not a lot of good outfits that are reusable with them, and they go together. So that's one thing I've definitely learned is I've honed in my style. I only buy key pieces that I know that I will wear and that are transferable into other parts of my wardrobe. Like this blazer I'm obsessed with. It can be worn so many different ways. It's my, autumnal tones that I love, even though I literally always wear browns, even though it's kind of a fall vibe, but I feel like they just look good with my skin tone. So yeah. And then also this turtleneck is brown, and just this is a type of style that I like, and I know it, and I don't need 100 of them. I just know that's what I like, and I can go to that every day, and it can be simple, and I feel comfortable with it, and yeah. So another thing that goes along with quantity doesn't mean quality is friends. I feel like after we come out of high school, go into college, you get all these new friends, and almost during college is at the point where you have the most friends possible that you probably will have in your entire life. And then once you come out of college, you'll definitely notice a drop off of friends. And you might meet some new friends with work or where you live, however that works. But just for me, I'm kind of happy how things worked out. I'm always slightly an introvert. I never had a huge group of friends, but I'm happy that the people around me right now, I know I can trust. We have, great connections together, and I feel like that's what it's all about. You don't need to have 10 friends all the time talking to, but if you just have a good core, 2 or 3 people that you're always going to count on, that they're on your team, I think that's super important. I know sometimes that's something I was always self-conscious with, is I don't have a lot of quote-unquote friends, but something in my early 20s I've realized is that doesn't matter as long as the people I'm surrounded with, I'm enjoying their time, we're creating memories, and that's all I can really ask for, and I'm very thankful for those people that are in my life. The second thing that I've learned, and this might be one of my favorite things that I've learned just in this past year, is lean into your passions. For me personally, when I was growing up into high school, I learned a lot of things and I became passionate about a lot of things. But I don't know if anybody else can relate to this, but it feels like when you're in high school, college, you almost don't have a lot of the means to pursue those passions. I really like skiing, but that costs money. I like, traveling, but sometimes you don't have time or money to do it. Just like little things like that. Or I'm really into, the different types of teas and like the matcha ceremony, all this like random stuff. But the thing and the point I'm trying to make is, when all of a sudden you're given a little bit more means, you have some more spare time, you're creating, a little bit of a backbone for yourself, foundational things, you can start to, take some of those assets that you're acquiring and use them to lean into your passions. Spend a little bit of money and do that thing that you're really passionate about. Or, take some time and practice yoga, something that you couldn't really do at other stages of your life. So I definitely think your early 20s are this time where you're kind of just taking that deep breath and realizing all these things that you really like to do, and all of a sudden now you can do them. It's hard for me to explain too, but maybe it's just personal as well, like how I feel that I can all of a sudden do all these more things that I really like enjoying and kind of reconnect with my younger self that like those, or even things that I've learned throughout college that I thought, hey, that would be cool. Now it's time, I can do that. I can put, time towards that and accomplish that. So the third thing is, do things you like doing. Don't do things that you don't want to do. And by that, I mean, like, let's say I don't want to take out my garbage. Obviously, there's some responsibilities in life that you should do no matter if you want to do them or not. But what I mean by this is, at least for me, by your early 20s, I'm starting to realize things that I like to do and things that I don't. If I don't want to go to this certain place with a big group of people, or if I don't want to, go tubing, like I hate tubing, stuff like that, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to put myself in a position where I know I don't like something, and I'm not going to, just fake that I'm enjoying it to be there. I know sometimes, like, you want to just be nice and do something, but I've also realized, like, I have the power. If I don't want to go out on a Friday night and just stay in and read a book, who's going to judge me? Like, that's something that I want to do. I shouldn't feel pressured to do something I don't want to do. And on the flip side of that, I definitely have defined the things that I like doing. It kind of ties into dive into your passions. So I know what I like doing. That's what I'm going to do if I have free time, and I know it makes me happy, so that's how it is. I really think it's about setting boundaries for yourself and knowing what you like doing, knowing what you succeed in doing and bolsters your overall life, and knowing what you don't like doing, which kind of takes away from your lifestyle. And then the fourth thing is saying goodbye to social pressure. I don't know about you guys, but I felt like, especially in high school, it literally was the worst thing ever. I would always feel like if a group of people invited me out, go to the basketball game, sometimes I like doing that, but sometimes just the groups of people I hung out with, like, I didn't really want to do it, but I went because I felt like socially you had to be doing something. And even in college sometimes, like, if everybody was going to the cafeteria, but you really didn't feel like going, but you just kind of went because you feel like you're obligated to, that's one of my worst feelings ever. I don't know why, I just hate it. Maybe it's because I just like to do my own thing and kind of more of an individualist in that sense. Or if I have somebody I'm close with, we just do our own thing. So for me, like, growing up now and realizing I don't have to partake in that stuff just to, appease these social pressure gods, I don't even know, but just realizing, like, nobody cares if you don't do something. Like, it's your life. Like, if you don't want to go do that, that's fine. Like, you're the one living your life, you might as well enjoy it. And then the fifth thing is kind of something all-encompassing. It is embrace the post-college world. I feel like in college, it's this world where you're kind of in the real world. I don't even like using that term real world because it's always the real world, but you're kind of super close to all these things that I just mentioned. Like, it all comes together, but you're still in that structural type of college where you have schedules, you go to classes, there's that little dose of, like, peer pressure all kind of wrapped in, and now all of a sudden, you graduate, you get a job, you do whatever, you can go on your own adventures, you can kind of start to make that handprint of what your life is going to be like for the next 30 years. That's kind of how I'm thinking your 20s are. You're, like, creating all these foundations so that, the rest of your life is kind of curtailing off of the great foundations that you made during your 20s. And obviously each decade of your life, each moment in your life, you're also building yourself. But that's kind of how I see your 20s, and this early 20s portion for me is just really formative, and I've really learned about it myself, so I'm super excited to see where the next age takes me. If you guys have any good lessons or just like tidbits that you learned about growing up, I know I want to do a video that's on watching yourself grow up, because I think that's just such like an interesting concept. But yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and thanks for watching.